Hi, my name's Vicki. This channel is Living with Sjogren's disease, and I think this is going to be a little bit longer videos about things I didn't do way back, but also things that I think I did good. The reason I want to share those things is because so many other people are going through it. This video that I'm about to show is transparent about things that were not good. I'm human, and so I made mistakes, but everybody has a learning curve in life, and some of us, it takes longer for us to learn, and we stumble more along the way. I'm about that way too. So I hope that this video will meet with compassion, empathy, and maybe some support that if you're going through the similar thing, that you're not alone in it, and that maybe not to expect so much of yourself that you might feel down because of ability isn't quite maybe as strong as what we see in other people. You're valid. You're valid, and I want you to know that. So here it is. I did put up a video a couple years ago about my autoimmune story, and this is a little bit of the same thing. It's just kind of from a different aspect, and I'm working from notes here, so I hope that you'll bear with me a little bit. What would I do differently if I knew then what I know now? I was diagnosed in 1999, and up until 2012, I didn't have any issues. I took Plaquenil, 200 milligrams a day, and I did really well. So I thought, well, jeepers, I'm not sick. I can just carry on like always. It didn't even enter into my brain that things could get a whole lot worse. Especially if I didn't change certain things. And I would say at that time, I didn't even really think that certain things were that bad. I don't feel like I knew enough about what Sjogren's syndrome was. I now call it Sjogren's disease. And I didn't really know enough about it. Something I would do differently about that is I would join the Sjogren's Foundation and try to learn more about that. There was a cost involved at the time, and I was still in school, and we still had kids at home. And so for me, even though the membership was only once a year, it still seemed like maybe an unnecessary cost. So I didn't, but I would have had the kind of information back then, what they had back then, that would have been really good for me. And I would have bought the book because not much was explained to me at all. You know, at least he took me seriously, and at least I found out a diagnosis. So I am happy about that, but not happy that I didn't know enough. And I'm the only one who could really pursue that. Nobody can choose to do it for me. That had to come through me, and I didn't. One thing I would also change is have more understanding about just how serious my diet could affect my overall health, but also my systemic inflammation. And the progress of my Sjogren's. So many people today seem like, especially in the comments, that they understand so much about diet and take it seriously and are dedicated to those changes. I wasn't, and I didn't even realize, even though I took dietary class in college for nursing, I was clueless. I don't know. It could have been some denial. Not sure. I also regret not seeking out mental health care long ago. Not even just when my Sjogren's diagnosis came about, but long before then. I'm somebody who tried to hide what was happening in my head and in my emotions because of fear and embarrassment and feeling less than back then. And I didn't want to be thought of as less than. I wanted to feel good about myself, and I wanted other people to like me. And of course, this was much younger. I would say I didn't even realize that I had mental health issues. I was oblivious because when you grow up and you see these things being done, we pattern ourselves after it. We just know what is modeled in front of us, and we're used to that, and we think that's just the way it is. When I finally did pursue counseling, I didn't stick with it for very long. I had been gaslighted and told, oh, it's just in your head. You're just a little depressed. You just need to make yourself get up out of bed. Just choose to do it and pop up and get out of bed and you'll be fine. When in reality, I was severely depressed. And making yourself do something when you're that depressed is extremely difficult. Once I finally did recognize, oh, these things are really bringing me down, I was more depressed. I was moody. I was continuing to grieve about losses, about the loss of my mom, even though it had been absolutely years since she had passed away. And I didn't know that grief, that it's an up and down throughout a lifetime. Finally, when I did recognize how seriously I needed help, it wasn't until I was so miserable and so unhappy and felt so ill with my symptoms. And this was only 8 years ago. I pursued therapy for 1 year. I took a break because I really needed to do some other things. And then after that, I thought, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I wasn't fine. I was still wearing a mask and still depressed, though I would go through periods of depression, okay. Then finally, when my Sjogren's symptoms began to worsen so much that I was simply so fatigued all the time and felt so disabled, that's when I really pursued therapy. And it was greatly recommended by my primary care because so many things were going on and happening that it was just too much to manage that, plus all the ongoing complications of my Sjogren's. This therapy that I sought out helped me find the right medication at the right doses for me. It helped me understand myself better and why I had always struggled. I didn't realize that I was suffering from trauma, chronic PTSD. I didn't realize that I actually did have OCD related to all these things I couldn't control because I wasn't in touch with my trauma. I was always responding to the situations with others and the circumstances that I was in through the trauma. Once I graduated from nursing school and began working in nursing, I had not pursued therapy yet. I was fearful. I had some low self-esteem, low confidence, even though I had done wonderful in school. So again, I wore a mask as if I knew what I was doing all the time. I regret that. I wish I had asked for a lot more help because the stress and anxiety, that right there is a trigger for Sjogren's flare. It's also dishonest. Let's face it, it's dishonest. I did do some good things. And here's what I think about that. So even though I had some low self-esteem, low confidence, I did do my best to use the skills that I had gained to go forward, even though I was afraid. And I think that's bravery. I followed up on my optic nerve event, even though I feel that I was gaslighted about it in the beginning. It became severe over a 2-week period. And I said, that's it. We need to pursue, treatment somewhere else. And we did. We drove 5 hours away in order to find out what was happening. And when we did, the first day of the first appointment, they spent significant time with me figuring out what was going on. The ophthalmologist sent me to 2 other specialists in the same clinic that specialized in the optic nerve. And, right away that day, they made room for me. They took my history and did a few other tests, like took pictures of both my optic nerves to compare them. They also told me about just how serious the problem was. And they sent me right over to the emergency room to get prednisone infusion and ordered 2 more of them consecutive days. So for 3 days, starting that day, I had an infusion of prednisone. I did follow up with my rheumatologist and my ophthalmologist at that time here at home. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, but I don't think that's what it was. And the prednisone didn't even help you. And I'm like, no, you're just defending your decision. And I do believe that I would be completely 100% blind in my left eye if I hadn't chosen to be brave and go forward advocating for myself. I gained enough vision back that I had at least 45% vision, and that has consistently stayed the same. I truly believe that it was because of the prednisone, and rheumatology follow-up and neurology follow-up has really confirmed that my Sjogren's and autoimmune disease, that it attacked my optic nerve. I did eventually seek out mental health, take it seriously, open myself up to my provider. Eventually, I did take my diet really seriously, and exercise and making quality of life changes. I began to realize that my quality of life had become very low. And I made the decision, I don't want that to happen. And I began to realize only I can make that change. I can't depend on other people to do it or cook the foods or find the foods for me. I have to do that. Now, I can always ask for help. Like many people, I don't like having to ask for help, but I had to learn how to do that, and I'm proud of myself. I ended up reducing my work hours from full-time to part-time back when I was doing nursing, and that helped me tremendously. I really believe that if I hadn't done that, I was on a roller coaster to disaster and would likely have lost my career much sooner than when I finally had to make the decision to stop nursing. The last thing is I wasn't secure. I finally stepped up to be honest anyway. Being able to be honest felt really good. So I hope you all are doing well. If you're not, I know from experience just what that feels like. Reach out for support. That's why they're there. They want to give support as much as they want to receive it. Bye for now, and I thank you so much for sticking with me through this video and giving me the support of listening to my story.